order, which is quite interesting. I know you've had some additions, some cards that were missing, and you created them. So maybe let's see. I'm going to read out the order of this table. So they started by identifying the issue, carry out some research, identify who you're going to target, establish a clear, concise message, set goals and objectives, develop an action plan, build support, evaluate your efforts. I think the only thing that is common to everybody is the last one.
And the first one? No?
No.
At this table we have identify the issue, carry out some research, set goals and objectives, establish a clear message, develop an action plan, identify who you're going to target. Then they added implementation, work plan, monitoring, build support, evaluate your efforts.
But we can take one by one if we have time.
I'm not sure we have that one. While at this table, they started with carry out some research, which is right, to be community-based. Then they identify the issue, then identify who you're going to target, set goals and objectives, establish a clear, concise message, build support, develop an action plan, evaluate your efforts. So you see there are quite some differences. I think it's also based on the experiences and the context. So in the context of, I've heard you talking a little bit, in the Philippines and in Indonesia, you kind of, I think it's quite clear what the issue is. So you probably need to do research afterwards to identify how to best present it, or what are, like, to go more in depth of what is the problem, but the overall problem you're clear on what it is. While, for example, in the case of Hadia and Gufran, there was some research to be done beforehand to understand what are the main priorities and the issues. So I think it's interesting also the different steps where we all thought of them in a bit of a different way. Of course, there's not a clear way to go about it from A to Z. As we said before, it's context specific, right? So depending on the experience and on the information you have and on what you need to gather, you'd probably do it in different ways. But let's say overall, yeah. So if we can simplify these steps, the basic 5 steps for building a campaign would be this one. Then you can phrase them in a way or in another, but you start obviously with knowing what the issue is. Either you do research before or after, that's the main thing. Understanding what change you want to see. And this means also then understanding who you want to target, for example. So once you see the change, once you know the change, you know who is capable of doing that change. You could see who are your allies, who are your opponents, and you build your advocacy based on that. You develop a message, also based on who you want to target, because the messages could be different if you're targeting a specific MP, if you're targeting a local government, if you're targeting a local leader. You plan your activities based on the change you want to see, on the message you have developed, and then monitoring, evaluation, and learning is put as a last step, but it's an ongoing thing. So as this table was saying before, monitoring is something you do along the process. While evaluation, you'll do it at the end. Of course, you'll need to ask yourself what worked, what didn't, how could things go better the next time. So for each of these steps, there are tools that can help you thinking through. When you have some main questions you want to ask. We're not going through this because I think you all have your ways of developing campaigns. You've done it before. You are aware of what needs to be reflected and what you need to think about at the different steps. But I think there are tools that could be useful and you could use maybe in the future or you've used in the past. In any case, we'll send around this. You'll have links to where these tools have been taken from, to the examples from Tier Fund. So I wouldn't worry too much in trying to capture everything. But we're going through an exercise later on, so I'll try to keep this quick. And in the exercise, we'll use some of these tools. So for the issue analysis, for understanding what is the problem, what is the issue we want to focus on, we'll go through problem and objective tree. It will be partially already filled, but then you're always free to change it completely or to just add on that. When we talk about clarifying the change, what do we want? What is the behavioral change we want to see, or what is the new policy we want to see implemented? What is our role? Who are our allies and opponents? What could be conditions that help us achieving this change and conditions that hinder us doing it? And we'll try to think through the theory of change too. So we'll see a bit what are the short, medium, long-term objectives that we want to achieve and how we can achieve them.